All right, it's great to be here, and look at my panelists, guys, and they're looking amazing. So, media, I have my phone here. Will that be a bother? Okay, I'll just go ahead then. All right, Coach had mentioned earlier that we'd be taking, we have questions on Slido. So if you could just go on there or vote the questions so that we know the questions that are most important to you and we can answer those first. Because I doubt that we have enough time here to answer all the questions. So the ones you upvote, we'll just prioritize those and ask those. Is that fine? Are we together? And guys, please put your hands together for the online audience. There are a lot of people online currently. I can't even count. I can't keep track. There are so many people online. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining from wherever you've joined us today. We're grateful that you could make out the time to be with us. The hall is not very big and we couldn't accommodate a lot of people, but online we can accommodate as many as possible. And it's great that we could have you here with us. All right, quickly we'll go into it. Guys, can you see Haley online? Let's say hello to Haley. All right, Haley, can you say a quick hello just to be sure we can hear you?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
Awesome, great. It's good to have you, Haley. All right, so our guests have chosen a lot of questions here, but the one with the highest votes, I think we'll just start with that. This is interesting. So the first question here is, how can CX team collaborate with other departments like marketing, engineering, and product to create a seamless experience that drives growth? And I think I want to hear Oluchi's perspective, if that's fine. Let's hear from you. Did you get the question?
Oh, yes, I did.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. So if I heard you correctly, how can CX team collaborate with cross-functional teams, marketing, engineering, product? I'll give a bit of a background that, first off, when we talk about the CX team, we do not refer to them to be a unit or a department that is in isolation, because most times we see them as if they are one unit that is there dealing with one thing or the other, that generally in the organization we feel that they are not top there in the scheme of strategy management. Now, one of the important ways that they can collaborate with cross-functional teams, I'll start with marketing, is that the CX team needs to have a consistent communication with the marketing department, helping them to be consistent in the message that they're putting out there to the customer. There's need for there to be consistency in the information that we put out there. It must not be deferring. It must not be a messaging that is confusing to the customers when they receive them. And how can marketing ensure that the messaging out there is consistent is when they collaborate with the CX team. An example will be that you may coin a message, an information, and you think it's perfect, and you put it out there. It is the CX team that would give you feedback how your customers are interpreting and receiving that message. See that in your department, you would think that, 1 + 1, it's equal to 2. It's no-brainer. Everybody should understand it. But you'll be so surprised at the feedback that the CS team have given to the number of calls that they receive and customers trying to get clarification on those messaging. So it is important that there's a consistency in information that the marketing team, for example, will put out. Now, moving on to the product team. You know that the products are in charge of building product development, customer journey, UI, UX, that's user experience, user interaction. You cannot build a great product if you do not understand how your customers will interact with that product and how your customers will perceive it. And the best people to help you gather information, help you gather data on how the customer will use a product that you produce, just like Ada said that before, organization would bring out products and put it out there without consulting with the customers, without understanding what are the needs of the customers, how do they want to interact with a product. That if you do that now, you're on your own because nobody's going to touch it. So one of the good ways to ensure that you're building a product that is relevant, that is timely, that is meeting the market need is to ensure that you are consistently collaborating with the CX department. Why is that important? It's important because it is the CX team that is able to give you insight as to how you can upscale a product, how you can enhance a given product. So you might have one product and you think you have done all that you can do. It is 80% customers are using it. And then you realize that the CX team are giving you feedback saying, oh, this product requires an additional product, or this product needs to be enhanced. I'll give you a practical example. I work with wakanow. Everybody knows wakanow to be majorly on flights. That, oh, if you want to book your flight, wakanow. But it is the CX team that will let you know that when people book their flights, they are asking you for airport transfers. They need pickups and drop-offs. That is part of the traveling experience. So the CX team, collaborating with the product team, are able to upscale a current product and able to expand the product line, giving you insight as to what the customer need, or do they want visa assistance? Do they want lounge services when you get to the airport? Like I used to say, we Nigerians, if you have a flight, audience, if you have a flight by 12 noon, what time do you leave your home to get to the airport? Some people get there 7. That is a whooping 5 hours difference because we're trying not to miss our flight. But what do you do when you get to the airport? Do you hang around? Are you looking for where to sit down? Are you looking for what to do with yourself? So it is the CX team that will pass information both to the commercial team, the product team, the engineering team, saying, hey, people are stranded after they've checked in. They need to do something with themselves while they're at the airport. So a new product will come. Airport lounge access. You get to the airport on time, you're checked in, you're fine. Why not sit down somewhere comfortable? You have refreshments, you have Wi-Fi, you can work, you can relax before you board. I don't think I can overflow how it is important for the CX team to collaborate with the product team because it would improve what? Your business perspective, your products, your revenue. Now, engineering team, it is exceedingly important that they are collaborating. Why is this so? You cannot have an efficient customer experience if the right tools are not in place for the customer service team to use. I cannot service you if I am not empowered to service you.
Okay, I think you want to answer the next question now, so I'm going to cut you there.
No, that's part of engineering. There are 3 departments you mentioned.
Well, I mean, you can go ahead. Just
okay, I'll just wrap that up. So you need to be empowered, having the right tool, making sure that integrations are quick, are fast, are easy to use, and user-friendly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oluchi. Yeah, something I just want to just expound on is what she said at the beginning about how CX teams are not in silos, right? In fact, I'm of the opinion that everybody at your company should be a CX person. They should be customer-oriented. And this is something we pride ourselves in at Cowrywise, that we are customer first. We think about our customer first. We think about how they experience the app. And not just at the point where they are reaching out to our customer service team, but at the point where they even download the app on Play Store. How do they feel about the product? From going there to the onboarding process, the entirety of that, and even putting in their first ₦1 into the app. What is the experience like? So it's not the CX team that would design the app. It is not the CX team that would develop the app. But in collaboration with the CX team, you can experience like a seamless flow and an amazing experience once you interact with whatever product it is you're building. So CX teams are not one team. Your entire team should have customer experience at the back of their mind in whatever function they find themselves in. Are we together? All right, cool. Let's move on to the next question here. And the next question with the highest vote is, I think I'd like Yinka's perspective on this. Are there key metrics that CX teams could focus on to directly contribute to business growth? And how can they measure success?
Thanks for that. I think, yes, there are a few known industry metrics, right? Common ones, NPS, CSAT, CES. But I like to talk practical CX. Those are good metrics, but you need to ensure that, first of all, you pick metrics that suit your operations. And before you do that, what I like to always say is, you've built a customer journey map. It's not the same, even for companies within the same sectors, right? So you understand how your customer moves from node to node. After that, you then develop metrics that suit that journey itself, so that at every point in time, you're able to track and measure what is happening vis-a-vis those metrics. So you find Amazon can tell you, I'm looking at order defect rates, right? Lafarge will tell you, I'm looking at on-time delivery. Choose metrics that work for you. You at Cowrywise, what do you do? What do you pick as a metrics? Redemption rates, and what have you. So beyond just the MPS, CSAT, and CAS, you really want to go to the shop floor and customize those metrics that speak to your customer journey and your pain points. Of course, at the end of the day, you also want to ensure you're able to measure. And for the measurement, again, companies make the mistake of measuring in silos as opposed to an integrated approach, right? And this is where it gets tricky. How do you ensure that metrics tie to each other? So you're in commercial, I'm in CX, but we have the same goal, which is customer happiness at the end of the day, of course, towards profitability. But you need to ensure that these metrics also speak to each other, because like we said, customer experience is not a department. It's a culture, an attitude, it's every one of us. Our KPIs may differ, but we need to find a way to sort of connect them together. So measurement is not the problem. For me, it's how you measure effectively and efficiently. So I think if you look at it that way, start with your customer journey map. It's sometimes a tedious task, but find time to do it. Then build on top of that till you get to your measurement framework. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yinka. Shani, I see you nodding and agreeing with Yinka. Do you want to say something there?
I think what I wanted to double down on is that focus on the metrics beneath the metrics. And so I think right from when a customer is engaged, there are metrics that you begin to see along the way. So with talstack, we're very early in the journey, but already we're beginning to see how these more sub-metrics actually give you control over the customer experience. So let me give some very specific examples. We would look at things like a company has subscribed to our platform, giving their employees access. In the first week, how many have logged in? How many have done something? And so we now define engagement as you've gone on the platform and you've done something. So that's the next step. You've logged in, but have you done something? And have you completed an action that shows that you are engaged on the platform? And then have you done that in the last 2 weeks? And so with each of those steps along the way, exactly like Yinka said, you actually have actionable things you can do. So now we've built in tools to say if somebody hasn't logged in, send them a follow-up, then reach out to them. Then if they've logged in and they haven't actually done anything in the first week or the first 4 days, reach out to them again. Then if they've started doing something but they haven't completed it and it's been a week, reach out to them again. And I think at Cowrywise, I've been getting some of those alerts as well. So I know obviously you guys do that as well. But that allows you to then take action. Because looking at NPS, looking at CSAT, looking at CES, these are more reactive metrics, right? And they usually come at the aggregate level. You know, okay, you've seen for 10,000 customers, but how did you identify pockets of 20 customers, 10 customers, 5 customers, that you can actually go and influence that behavior much before they've decided to either resubscribe or churn, right? And so I thought I'd just double down on that.
Thank you very much, Shani. Are we taking notes? I think I should emphasize that you should take notes. Well, we have this on YouTube Live, so we can always go back to watch it. But they're dropping some gems here, and I don't want us to miss them. Okay, my next question is for Haley. Hi, Haley. So the question here is, how can leadership empower CX teams to innovate and drive customer-centric initiatives that fuel business growth?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for the question. I think when I look at customer centricity, it's around the proactiveness. So as CX teams, we know what we need to focus on in order to get the day-to-day operations done, but it's more than that, and our customers demand more from us than that. And that really stems from leadership and making sure that everyone's wearing their customer-focused hat and driving initiatives that will stem growth. And that can be a range of things, like having tiger teams, like at Paystack we'll have tiger teams that are industry specific or digitally specific, so they all require the same sort of technology, where there's commonality with the themes. They're all individually different, but the commonality allows us to drive initiatives within the CX teams that will deliver outcomes. So proactive upselling and cross-selling, and really sitting and understanding problem statements from customers deeply. So from a technical standpoint, but also from a payment fund flow standpoint. So whatever you're trying to solve for, I think it's understanding that problem statement first, and it's not necessarily the day-to-day operations. It's rising above that to be proactive in the outbounding kind of solutioning that we don't allow, like you tend not to allow yourself the luxury of that time, where I think if you look 3 to 5 years ahead, if we don't focus on those types of forward-thinking initiatives today, we won't get to where we need to get to in a speedy timeline. We'll get there eventually, but if we're not being proactive about that approach, then it tends to be something that is an afterthought. So I think leadership really needs to drive that kind of forward thinking and that kind of innovation, and allow teams that space to have those deep conversations with customers.
Thank you very much, Ailey. And this just like drives home the point that Ada made in her speech, where she talked about how businesses need to start thinking about the future. So think beyond the now. You need to be forward thinking. Where will I be in 5 years? Where are my customers going to be in 5 years? How do I ensure that I can consistently deliver value to my customers over time, and not just in the current situation, but after 5 years, after 10 years, how do I remain relevant, right? And that's just what Elia shared with us. Okay, I have a question for Shani, but I'm going to skip the first 2 questions that have the highest votes, just so I can ask Shani this. So Shani, the question is, can companies align their customer experience strategy and overall business growth objectives? And how can they do that?
I think the shortest answer is yes. The longer version is they must. If you look at data, so I think for context for people in the room, my experience is coming from having worked at multiple very high growth ventures that started off, with 0 revenue, and then within 10 years we're doing $100 million in revenue, right? And so if you look at the growth trajectory of a lot of these companies, 2 of the biggest drivers of growth are, 1, existing customers expanding their account with you, right? So today they're doing $1,000 with you, tomorrow they're doing $2,000 with you, next day they're doing $5,000 with you, 1. And then 2 is referrals that came from existing customers. So somebody goes to lunch with their friend, and the person is complaining about something that happens at work. And they're like, what are you guys using to solve that problem? And you tell them, no, you shouldn't do that. Now, every one of us here, we have a product or a service that we love, that without anybody asking you, like you go around championing their cause. They don't pay you. They don't send you any marketing materials. But on your own, based on your experience, you just go around shouting their names and praising them whenever you can. So just think about that brand or that product or that service that you do that with. It could be fashion, it could be whatever, it could be software. But there's something that you have today, that you use today, that you always tell people about. And everyone wants to be the one that gives people good news. We all want to be the one that someone says, he's the one that told me about this, or she's the one that told me about this, right? And so those customers are some of your biggest champions, because they will fight for you internally, right? When budgets are being cut, they're the ones that will defend you, right? And then they're the ones that also promote you with other, within their peer group. And so I think that's why, from a strategy standpoint, if you're leadership, then you're thinking to yourself, if two of my biggest levers are from companies that expand with us and from companies where the people at those companies recommend us to others, then by default, your CX strategy is a core part of your corporate strategy. And so most leadership that sort of believes in this is thinking, how do I align the way my CX team functions with the way the company itself needs to succeed? And that's where I think it goes back to Oluchi's point around that integration between CX and the rest of the company. I think the ultimate head of CX has to be the CEO. Right.
Awesome. Put your hands together for Shani, guys. This is good stuff. So when Shani was saying this, I was just trying to like wrap my head around things that we have experienced at Cowrywise. So we do like this survey where we just find out how people heard about us. And over the past 6 months thereabouts, over 70% of new customers heard about us from another customer. And it's not, we have a referral campaign, but it's not the paid referral campaign, or it's not the incentivized referral campaign that is bringing in these new customers. People just love Cowrywise, and they tell their friends about Cowrywise. Oh, have you heard about Cowrywise? And it's just going on its own. We don't have to do anything about that. So imagine what customer experience can actually do for your business. You don't have to spend on that kind of marketing, for instance. You're not spending money for someone to talk about your products. That's just someone going, all right, go ahead. That's just someone just experiencing good stuff and wanting to tell others about it.
Just to add another quick anecdote to bring this to life again about why it's so important to be part of corporate strategy. As I was sitting down on the chair over there earlier, there's this well-known fiber service provider in Nigeria that tried calling me. And the person, a customer success rep, had called me on my way in. I picked up, I said, hello, who's this? My name is this, from where he mentioned the company, and I hung up the phone immediately. And that's because I had complained about something 3 months ago where I had no internet for 5 days. And they had said, we're going to fix it tomorrow. And they sent me the template response. We're really sorry. We understand your situation. We apologize. We'll fix it. Right? And it went on for 5 days. And so I got to a point where my trust was broken. And I said, I can't trust you anymore. So I got a backup. And then the backup worked. And the backup worked for a week, and 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. And eventually I went and disconnected their fiber device and put it in a drawer somewhere. And then I got a call from the management team, and the person actually said, because you've been a loyal customer. I'm one of the post-paid customers that have spent a lot of money with them over the last few years. So your case has been escalated to us, and I want to look into it and solve it. I said, okay, great. Now it looks like CX is now being aligned with corporate strategy, right? And then for 3 consecutive weeks, they didn't deliver. And so now they have people calling me from different parts of the organization. And every time I hear who they come, I just hang up. Because they use different numbers to call me, and I just hang up. And I block the number, and I hang up and block the number. And that's in an instance of where a customer becomes a detractor. Now, because I heard them saying the call is being recorded, I won't mention the company's name. But I now actively go out of my way to abuse that company in public. Right? So that's an example of what happens when you don't prioritize CX as corporate strategy. Right?
Very, very good stuff. Put your hands together, guys. Okay, so that we have time to take another round of questions, we'll just go quickly now. Okay, all right, I've asked this. Yes, another question for Yinka. How can CX teams focus on not only satisfying existing customers, but retention and acquisition to support sustainable growth?
I think this is one area CX professionals need to really take advantage of. Most times we're seen as a cost center. The guys in the C-suits look at you, you're doing something important, but you're just spending money, and you're unable to tell me how you're translating that money back into revenue.
Let me look at my CEO quickly.
So I think in answering this question, the CX person needs to understand that before acquisition, you must be involved. From acquisition all the way to churn, you're part of the process. You're not just one guy in the middle waiting for people to pass things to you, right? So it's an opportunity for the CX guy to ensure that even during the acquisition process, you're involved. Because most of the CX challenges you face downstream sometimes come from acquisition. So if you look at my own company, for example, the retention team looks at something we call quality acquisition. If I take Cowrywise, for example, some of the challenges you're going to have with, say, a mutual fund investor later will be from onboarding. He probably didn't even understand the products properly before he came on board. So the CX guy needs to be part of that process from the beginning, ensuring that you were acquired qualitatively, you were onboarded correctly, right? And of course, along the line, you're able to see what is happening to this customer. It's an opportunity for you to deliver value beyond just, I take care of customers. We actually do generate a lot of revenue. I know it's a challenge for CX professionals to show it, but you need to always find a way to show it. Churn, win back, your retention activities all contribute to revenue. You need to track it, you need to analyze and show these numbers. I particularly look out for CX professionals that are analytical. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stand it if you're not able to show me numbers. So I think it's an opportunity, and the CX person is very much involved in both retention and acquisition. And it's at that point you can show some values in terms of numbers and revenue for the C-suite. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inka. Thank you. Okay, I'll ask Oluchi this. What strategies can be employed? So this is similar to the first question, actually. But what strategies can be employed by CX teams to turn satisfied customers into brand advocates, helping drive organic business growth?
Okay, hi again. What strategies CX team can employ to what?
To transform satisfied customers into brand advocates.
Oh, okay. So what we're referring to here is making a customer satisfied and moving the customer to become like, yes, in his internet connection experience, isn't it? Because he's now advocating for the new people you're using because they're working well. So one of the strategies, the major one, I think most times when we talk about strategy, people always think or are expecting one out-of-the-box idea, something new and exceptional, overlooking what actually works, what they've been doing over and over again that is consistent and that delivers results. And one of them would be that ensuring that the CX team is consistently delivering customer satisfaction. The only way, the number one way you can get your customer to move from being just a one-time satisfied customer to a customer that is constantly advocating for you, unpaid advertisement, unpaid billboard, unpaid jingles, unpaid, I don't know what else to call it, publicity, is to ensure that each time that customer has an interaction with you, that you are exceeding the expectation. You are consistently delivering on what that customer expects
Recording in progress.
to deliver. I'll use your example. You've been using a particular fiber connection for a very long time. You were a postpaid customer. You were giving them your money in advance. But then happened a bad experience, which did what? Broke the connection, broke the trust, as you said, and has made you now not to buy from them anymore. In fact, you are unwilling to hear them out. So what it means that if you are a CX professional here, as much as we're trying to innovate, as much as we're trying to come up with new ideas, new things to retain the customer, we must not let go of what currently works for us. We must never let go of what brought the customer to us in the first place. which means consistently, each touch point. If I come to your website, if I go to your mobile app, if I visit a physical store, if I'm chatting with your customers, if you have implemented an AI, whatever it is you've done, whatever touch points that are available to your customer, you must ensure that there's what? Omni-channel, exceptional, across board. Like you, and I remember you said that if you walked into a physical store, and you made a transaction, you expect that the organization knows you. So if I start from a physical store and then I decide to continue online, mobile app, I need to continue from where I stopped. I don't need somebody asking me when I call and they ask me, what's your name? And I give them my name. How may I help you? Oh, I did this. And then you're asking me questions all over again. My expectation is that you have history of what I'm doing with you. You are improving on the interactions that I'm having with you. So I'm not going to bore us with fantastic new idea, jazz you up. No. What is working for us is ensuring that each time we have an interaction with a customer, we're exceptional. We are delivering. And consistency in doing that would move that customer from being a one-time customer to what? To a valuable customer that will continuously promote you. And you know that we are Nigerians and we are Africans. One way, like Ada spoke about her hairdresser. I don't know the hairdresser. Am I interested in meeting that hairdresser?
Of course.
What has happened here? Ada has used word of mouth. She's advocating for her hairdresser. That is what any organization should be looking towards. That's all the strategy you want. I want my customers to begin to talk for me. I want them to be my foot soldiers. My customers can't be everywhere. I may not be able to be everywhere at the same time, but Ada is here. I don't know, but I've met Ada. I've met her hairdresser, and I know that that hairdresser has an exceptional customer service. So we want to consistently deliver so that each of our customers, like you have released a termite, go out there and just preach the gospel of that organization. So let's keep doing what we do that works for us.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much, Oluchi. That was really, really good. Okay, I don't know if Ailey's back. Do we have Ailey back, please? Oh dear. All right, I'll just ask Shani this then. I'm skipping a few more questions. Apologies, but this one I actually want Shani to answer this. How do you balance, oh no, that's not it. How can data analytics and insights help CX teams identify opportunities for business expansion?
I'll try not to sound redundant from what has been said. I think fundamentally, data is pretty much core to CX because for two reasons. The first one being, once you get to scale, it's hard to actually know what's happening without data by default. And I think the second thing is, I can't remember who mentioned segmentation. I think that was you, Inka. No, or was it Ada? Actually, it was Ada about segmenting, right? Without data, you also can't segment. And we know now from Ada's talk that you need to be able to treat different customers differently. And it's not always about who is high value and low value. That's a segmentation. But it could also be about where in the journey, people are having difficulties and how you can address that. And so I guess maybe the call to action here is being able to measure what actually matters, right? And so if you think about the journey and you say to yourself, these are the points in time where a customer needs to be doing something. And do I have the right ways to measure those points in time? And do I have the data that shows me what's happening at those different points in time in a way that I can actually action and slice and dice, right? I think that's really the critical thing here. So I wouldn't spend a lot more time being redundant, but I think that is very core to the CX job, is being able to look at metrics and figure out how to act on those metrics.
Thank you very, very much, Shani. So in essence, as CX people, we need to track. We need to consistently track and consistently track. Follow the numbers, understand what's happening. If there's something not looking right, there is something not looking right. You should definitely check it out and probe. So don't just leave the data to the analytics guys. Question the data. Always follow the data. If it's telling you something, listen to it and probe. Thank you very much. We don't have time to take more questions, but I'm sure that they're still here for a tiny, teeny, tiny bit, so you can approach them, ask them questions, and they'd be happy to answer. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much, guys. And thank you for listening.